All right, in this quick video, we're going to talk about how to leverage OnX Hunt, add naming for your different main lines and waypoints in OnX Hunt, be able to export that information, provide that to Sap Spy, and in a future state, we'll be able to generate a map like this that has the vacuum readings on top of that, the end of every main line, overlaid that map, and even color code different main lines, as you see here, if that vacuum reading is low. So I think most people are fairly familiar with OnX as far as drawing routes and waypoints. So this is a route, which would generally represent that main line, along with a waypoint. What we need to do is focus on the name of that route and waypoint and match that to what we call the vacuum sensor within Sap Spy. That way we can link the map data along with the sensor data. So in this particular example, this is a main line that we have here. We call it 5C, and we have a waypoint. I'm going to call the exact same thing as 5C. Just so you know what that looks like, I'm going to use the draw tool. I'm going to draw this line out. Once I'm done drawing that main line, I'm going to call it main line. In this case, I'm going to call it main line 6. We'll click save. And now it's just a main line. Now I want to add a waypoint at the end of that main line. So I'm going to add that here. I'm going to call it mainline 6. We'll click save. So at this point, we have ML6, which refers to as mainline 6, and then we have ML5C. Here is mainline 5B and 5A. Kind of our convention is we'll just call it 1, 2, 3, 4. This is happens to be the fifth main line. As we branch off that main line, we do A, B, C, and D, and so forth. So it's kind of a naming convention that you see here. So at this point now we want to map that same content over. We're going to say this is a single node, and this is a dual port vacuum sensor that we'll want to map both 5C and 5 or mainline 6 to this main line here. So within Sap Spy, what we'll have, so that first node, what we're going to do is under device settings. As you see here, there's vacuum port 1 and a name. We're going to call that mainline 5A. So then this vacuum port from this sensor will get mapped to this location on the map, and that number of this sensor will be overlaid at the map here. And then this line here that's called 5A will change color based on that vacuum reading. So we'll just do that same thing for the other vacuum sensors that we have here within the Sap Spy app. So I have the one single port. Here's another single port. I'm going to call this mainline 5B. Always make sure we save settings after adding that information. And then this node 4, it has 2 vacuum ports. So I'm going to come in here, and you'll notice it'll have 2 inputs for 2 different ports here. So here I'm going to call this mainline 5C, and this one's called mainline 6. So that as long as this matches exactly what we call it in OnX Hunt, we'll be able to map that data over. Once again, I'll save settings. And here, our convention, or at least the convention I use on my own sugaring operation, is just ML and then the number. This really can be any text you want, just as long as it matches. We can spell mainline completely out and all the letters. We try to be as condensed though, just to keep it more readable. Just as long as this text matches exactly what we call it on both the main line and that waypoint, it'll then interface with Sap Spy. We should be able to have the right information to replicate this map for your sugar bush. What we'll then need to do is export the OnX, all your waypoints and routes you have in OnX. The easiest way to do this, if you go to My Content, what I'll do is click on the 3 dots here under All Content, and then I'll click Export. And here it's best if I zoom out and I had multiple sugar bushes on here, it would all be on here. Initially, I would recommend exporting just one sugar bush at a time. So here is this is one sugar bush that I have. We're going to zoom in so I can see all of the routes and waypoints of that sugar bush. Then if you click this top radial button up here, it's going to filter down all of my waypoints and lines to just what's in view. Now what I want to do is select all, click export, the export button right here. And in this case, we want to do is have a KML file. So KML file is a file type we can then import into Sap Spy to replicate this map within the Sap Spy app. So we'll click Save. It'll download that file. And as long as you provide that file to Sap Spy, we should be able to generate this OnX map that will then overlay the sensor readings on top of every waypoint. Reach out with any questions.